So let's dive into the first question then.
Yeah. So I guess what I wanted to ask you was, as an employee, like how do you think the world is going to change for employees after MCO is completely done with?
Mm, as an employee, like I can like mention, hello. As we mentioned, like during the previous video calls, like I feel like working from home we would definitely be more open to that. And at the same time,
Hmm.
from an employee's point of view, I also think that things are going to be flexible in a sense, because like with working from home comes like flexibility in time as well. So that's the way I
Hmm.
see things going lah. And also like I mentioned again, like a lot of digitalization as well. Using like conference calls, using Skype, using Zoom to do presentations, to meet your clients. Yeah. There's no um gone are the days where it's a necessity to meet your clients or meet your employers
Like face to
physically.
face anymore.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Uh, I think that was something that I noticed also because for like tutoring, because like I did a lot of tutoring. So as a job, even like the previous place I was working at, like the Kumon franchises, they're also beginning to implement online classes as well. So
mm.
I feel that for the working life, I totally agree that a lot of it is going to be online already. So even like Sean, he who does like the property reviews and everything, he's doing a lot of these type of like live sessions, answering questions. A lot of it, like you said, is going online.
Yeah, I think in general, things like this, I mean, like even before the MCO started, even before this whole thing started, right? I think
Mm.
the businesses or the platforms which are built on, social media, like what Sean, right? Sean was previously doing,
Yeah.
was built on something like that as well. I see like different YouTube videos, like Facebook, YouTube as well, that he was using to market his videos and his product. So I think those are
Yeah.
the companies or those are the platforms that will be, more, how do I say this, more that will transition properly lah, as compared to, people who are
Mm.
still physically intact, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because I feel with businesses also, like I wanted to get it from a business perspective as
Mm-hmm.
well. I had a company engage me asking me to help them do like this kind of live, kind of like an interview session in a way to like market them. So I feel that even like the marketing for entrepreneurs and for small business owners as well, all of that is changing. And I think it was also like basically it was forced to change because due to MCO, nobody can go anywhere. So I see that as a change for like businesses as well.
Okay, yeah, but I think, online marketing has always been something that has always been there, and like it's
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
yeah, it's something that people already use to, as a platform.
Do you think it's gonna be just like more, or like do you think that part isn't really affected?
No, it's going to be more relevant, of course.
Then what about students? How do you feel that the student life is gonna change for people who are still in uni?
To be honest with you, like if you ask me to refer or relate back to my personal student experience, right, I don't think much will be changed because like we always had things like e-learning, where you
Mm.
can get like all your learning materials online. So
Mm-hmm.
other than online classes, I don't think much will be changed. But that's only from my own
I
perspective,
felt
lah.
yeah,
I mean,
I
I
felt
was a student
because
like 2 years ago. That's so.
same bro, we're in the same boat. But I started noticing that a lot of the lectures are actually done online, and actually because this is something right that overseas I see a lot because like I follow Jordan Peterson. So Jordan
Mm,
Peterson is a clinical psychologist, but he also lectures.
okay.
So what he would do right is that he would actually film his lectures and post them online. So he's already been doing that before this MCO thing. But like you said, like when MCO started, I think you mentioned in our previous session that Dr. Eugene, is it? Or
Yes,
or
Eugene.
or no no
Yeah,
no
Eugene.
James, Mr. James, that he was
James
also
posted a
posting.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, James posted a video of himself, and I think that is what we will see a lot of differences in the student life, is that our Malaysian and our Asian lecturers are actually gonna maybe start posting more videos about themselves, because that is something that I really didn't see a lot of in our country. Lah.
Mm-hmm. So like what you're saying is that lecturers are using a different source to post and to share their education.
A different
Sorry,
media,
wait.
because like I think
Messi.
I stand. So this is what happens when you live at home and you have your mom with you. Live halfway, suddenly the mom will come in. Damn cute. So for you guys that are just joining, we are just currently on the topic of like how student life is being changed after MCO. So basically we're talking about, hey Steph, we're actually talking about what life is going to be like after MCO. So we've already covered employees and businesses. So right now we're actually talking about how student lives will be changed. So feel free to drop any other questions that you have or any of your opinions about what we're talking about now.
Yeah, actually,
Okay,
like
yeah.
the student is one thing, lah, but like if you would allow me to go back to the employer side of things, because like I was doing a bit
Yeah,
of
yeah.
research earlier just before the call, and I found a few
Mm-hmm.
interesting things. So like the first thing would be a shift back to localization. Um
Uh-huh.
yeah, by localization I mean like how products are usually imported from like overseas, to cut costs or things like that, right? So like
Uh-huh.
with the MCO going on, with everything that's going on, I believe companies would move towards risk aversion, to avoid as many risks as possible. So one of the things that I read would be, a shift towards localization, the way import products. So I believe, for example, Malaysian companies would, import more raw materials or import, more Malaysian stuff to
Mm-hmm.
to minimize that risk. That's one thing.
Basically using local products.
Yeah, localization. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my dad was explaining to me also, like with the United States and China, like that trade war, how, because like China relies so heavily on their export, because everything is so goddamn cheap.
Yeah.
And then the United States, different is all like their import. So then, okay, I don't want to talk about that because I don't know enough about it. But he was also saying how like the United States, they try to protect their 自己人 so they try to make sure that they have jobs for themselves instead of outsourcing everything. So definitely that's something that I didn't think about what you brought up.
Yeah, yeah. And the second one would be more of like cost variables. So like,
Mm-hmm.
how like businesses, they always have their fixed costs and the things they do.
Yeah,
Like for
overhead and
example,
stuff.
or yeah, yes, for example, like I have 10 people that I'm hiring, so every month I need to pay that amount of money. So to
Yeah.
minimize cost, to cut costs, there might be a lot of outsourcing as well, just to reduce that current
Mm.
cost. Children.
Yeah, so maybe
Okay, go
this
on, sorry.
yeah, but I definitely think that like what you said, like for businesses and for companies, they're definitely going to take a lot more risk management, because this whole MCO, right, was a huge slap to the face of them,
Hmm.
especially businesses that had to control so much of their overhead. Like I know a family friend who owns a restaurant. He legit didn't open a single day throughout the entire MCO. He remained
Yeah.
closed until now.
Hmm.
So, but he still needs to keep paying all the employees and everything. So that's
Hmm.
definitely, like you said, risk management.
Yeah, and also it forces people to think out of the box. Like, so for example, right, my mom has a friend who is like a fish distributor. I don't know if I told you about this
Oh,
before.
no,
Yeah,
I
so
don't
like
know.
his job is like
Eggs, yes, not fish.
no, ex is a friend, but this is my mom's friend. Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
his job is to like he distributes fish like to different restaurants, and because of the MCO, a lot of restaurants are cutting down on their food and things like that, right?
Hmm.
So in a way, his business is affected as well. So what he does is that he contact other people, like other communities or other organizations, to share his businesses. So once in a while, he'll go to like different houses and
Hmm.
provide different orders like for households as well, not just for
So
restaurants
he
now.
goes house to house, is it?
House to house and via contacts. So for example, he's
Oh,
under my church as well. So the pastor actually, shares the message for him. So people in the church knows about
so
his
cute.
business.
Beihu, Beihu.
Yeah, it forces people to use their contacts
Damn
and just
true.
think out of the box.
Think out of the box. That's what I really feel
Yeah,
because like going back to the students and also answering Dana's questions like is online the way forward? I really think especially for lecturers, right? Just the simple act of like recording your lecture and you don't even need to put it on like maybe like the university's platform, just maybe starting a YouTube channel and putting that information out there. I think that is a whole different way of education already because like I said, like for Jordan Peterson, he lectures and he's a practicing professional, but on top of that, he actually releases all of his lectures. So it's free. It's free for everybody to watch. And on top of that, he gains a lot of traction. Like he gains so much. I don't want to use the word fame, but like he's very well known. Like he's more well
yeah.
known for that already. Like. So like even like you see like Dr. Eugene who's going on BFM and everything, I don't think that would have been possible if all he did was lecture in a classroom. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like based on what you just said, right? One thing would be personal branding. The pros lah of posting videos
Mm-hmm.
online or posting. One thing is that, and also the second thing is a history or a record of your own lectures. So like if anytime in the
Mm.
future, if someone wants to learn more about that topic, they can just go online and find. And also your name will always be there. Dr.
Yeah.
Eugene, for example, talking about neuroscience or like cognitive science, things like that.
Yeah.
So these are the pros that I see coming.
And I think on top of that, right, like what I would really want to see like a little bit different in our like Asian kind of education is actually that interaction with students. Because imagine, right, if a lecturer walks in, I was like, did you guys already watch my YouTube video or not? Like my freaking lecture is on YouTube. You go home, you watch that, you come then we discuss about this topic. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because then the teaching part is there. Now it's like you're actually stimulating all of the students and you're forcing them to like, I want a conversation with you. I want you to actually engage yourself in my classroom. And I feel that that would be, and just like you said, if anybody ever needed that information, it's like it's right there. It's on YouTube. Like the whole freaking world can access it. It's not just like like Sunway's portal or like Help's portal. It's like everybody can benefit from that information.
Yeah, and also from a student's perspective, like I don't know if you realize this, but like a lot of students, most students, when it comes to Malaysian culture, we don't really speak up much during the class. And if you transition
Mm.
this into a online lecture, by typing to ask questions, by interacting online, I feel
Uh-huh.
like many people would be more open to, participate at least during class.
Yeah, I think it will give the ones who want to participate a chance to do that more because I'm sure there will be those fellas that just go there to sleep, man. But
Yeah, that's
like
true.
to
There's always ups
answer
and
like
downs.
Stephanie's question, yeah, exactly. To answer Stephanie's question, like she said, like prior to this, actually it's kind of like a movie, like you're not allowed to film it.
Mhm.
And I think that yeah, there were some institutions that they have those rules in place, but I feel that right now that's going to be a very different. Like I don't think you can fly with that rule anymore because with MCO, right, almost all the lectures, basically all the lectures, had to be done online already, and from there, right, you cannot really police people from filming that anymore. So I really think that just spreading that, and I think one of the reasons is kind of like that filming copyright type of thing because like, oh, it's my lecture, I'm being paid to give you this education, and then you go and film it and give it for free, then it's like you're threatening my job. I really feel that that is the main reason that people wouldn't want students to film lectures. But I think that like we said, right now times are changing, and I think that it would be really nice to see
Yeah, but then
Malaysia
then again,
do stuff
then
like
again,
that.
you need to consider about, your
Every time must happen once and his video show off. And Steph, I'm gonna get right to your question, but first, Josh, are you there?
hello.
Okay, I definitely want to get this going with you, Steph, because you are really stimulating this question for me, and I really, really appreciate this. I feel that, Josh, are you here?
Yeah, but I keep getting cut off. I don't know if it's my internet or what. But just go on.
Probably so. Yeah, I'm just going to answer Stephanie's question real quick. You can read it in the comment.
Mhm.
Quite frankly, right, Steph, I have never agreed with formal education. From high school, I don't agree with it already. And if you think about it, ever since high school, YouTube is there already. So YouTube being there, right, so many things can actually be learned online, but we still refuse to do it for free, and we still pay other people to teach it to us. So a very, very good example was I had a primary school friend, primary, I knew him from primary, and recently when I met up with him again, he is doing digital marketing for a company in Australia. His major, right, I think was either business or marketing. So nothing to do with digital online videos. Do you know how he landed that job? He taught himself video editing on YouTube. He taught it to himself. And after he got good at video editing, he started making videos, and this company hired him for almost 5 grand Aussie, 5 grand Aussie for something he learned on YouTube for free. He did not apply a single thing of his formal education. So I think if we're going to ask about like whether formal education is going to be like how valuable, I already don't think it's that valuable. And I still think that lecturers and teachers will have jobs even if you were to move everything online, because again, look at the world that we're living in, right? Most things are already online, and there's still a lot of jobs out there. So I still think that lecturers will have, and even if that happens and formal education is weaned out, right, I think that it is the lecturer or the teachers, the educator's job to really adapt to that situation. Because like you see overseas, like a lot of lecturers just post their lectures online already on YouTube. It's their own lecture that they put their heart and soul, and it's on YouTube for free, and they still have jobs. So even if they were to wean out formal education, the educator can still find job because the internet is here. That's what I strongly feel about it. Mr. Zhang, you got that?
No, most of it got cut out. I just heard
It's
internet
good.
and online tutoring. That's all I heard, man.
Basically, those two keywords, and yeah. Yeah, Dana, I think like the culture is definitely something that not so much the culture, I think it's the mindset. Like our mindset in our country needs to change first to like not so much of a okay, let's get this out of the way. Understand that we need to have an economy in our country. You know, people need to make money and make business and everything. But if we need to stop thinking about so individualistic in the sense that like, oh, if I gain something, someone must lose something. And if someone gains something, I must lose something. I think we need to stop thinking that way, because with the internet, that has basically been like broken down, because it's a free market already, man. Like it's up for grabs for anybody who's good enough and who's talented enough to go out and grab it. So I feel that if at least one person has done it, it really paves the way to show that this can be done. And guess what? Lecturers overseas are making money, and they are getting attention based on just their personal videos that they're posting online. It is not restricted to their classroom. So I feel that putting education online, that should be something that we seriously consider.
Yeah, and I think I don't know where you're at right now, but just to add to your point about formal education, right? As a talent acquisition person myself, yes, it's important to have, certs and, those basically just certifications, technical certs and whatever. But like at the end of the day, right, when you interview them or even when you speak to them, what you really want to hear about is not that, oh, I have a degree in psychology. That's not really what you want to hear. The really important part, that the part that you always focus on first is their experience, and second, previous projects or like projects that he or she was involved in. I feel like these are the things that companies or a lot of organizations are really looking for when it comes to hiring someone. Certs, it's only like what a lot of people say, it's only like a passport to go inside the interview, but at the end of the day, it's all about your experience and also what you can bring to the table.
Definitely. And I think that what you just said is really going to bring a lot of value to the students who are listening or who will watch this. It is so true. And I really wish that somebody had told me this earlier on in my freaking uni life. Because it's totally true. Like I have never gone for a single interview where they ask me about my GPA, where they ask me about my uni, about my major, nothing. All they ask about is exactly what Josh said. and take it from Josh because he is currently in talent acquisition. So literally his job is to listen to people do that. And yeah, it is really about the experience, the experience that you've gathered in your university years.
Yeah, and just to answer Dana's question about culture, right? I feel like culture can be changed when people start taking action on it. And I really feel like this MCO thing is sort of like a very good catalyst for us to start this transformation, if you would like to say that. Because like we always need to push that, and I feel like MCO is always a big push, especially if you want to digitalize classes, if you want to go into that sector. Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, I cannot get this friggin' chat. Yeah, like to Dana's point and even to Stephanie's point, like the involvement and participation. Yeah, unfortunately, that I feel is slightly cultural because Asians, I think it came from a culture of respect that we need to respect the elder or respect whoever's talking, and that just kind of overgeneralized to like, bro, you don't get an opinion in my classroom. So yeah, I think that was like really enforced into all of the people who came from a public school.
Even before you raise up your hand, you need to think, no, what question you want to ask us? There's a question so stupid or not?
Kena tiao.
Kena tiao, then the whole class laugh at you.
Dude, I had teachers, right, that laugh at the student and ask the class to laugh at the student for asking questions. You know, then you imagine when Muscle Uni there to ask questions already. So yeah, that is definitely cultural in that respect, Dana. And I really agree with Stephanie because like for me, who I'm a tutor myself, and I've done like workshops for public speaking and English writing courses and stuff like that. I do my personal workshops. I really do my best to try to give as much value to the kids that I'm teaching. And like, I want them to remember me as an educator, and I want them to remember the lessons that I will be teaching them so that even in future, what I'm teaching them can actually be applied beyond the classroom. And especially like Steph, for unis, especially tertiary education, I truly, truly believe that they cannot be note repeaters to your, exactly what you said, note repeaters. That is such a good way to say it. Because in university, their job is actually to stimulate us to think. They should be forcing us to ask difficult questions. That's why I like philosophy classes and shit like that. Like Dr. Anasuya, like that was who? Oh my god. That class, right, she really let you think and let you express, and no wrong answer in that. So that is like really what that should be facilitated. And I believe that, you know, having their lectures online, it saves time because then the students can actually watch the lectures at any point in time. You know, they can watch the lectures whenever the hell they want. As long as you come to the class ready, then we're going to discuss. And like that lecture part, right, should only be about 20 or 30% of the actual education. The rest of it should be the lecture facilitating them, stimulating their mind so that they can interact with each other and have clashing opinions. Because guess what? The world is full of people with clashing freaking opinions.
And Justin, just on top of that, right? A lot of students, they go to uni just to get that cert. And how do you get that cert? It's through exams, right? And exams are usually 60% of your whole course, at least 60%. And how are exams structured? They're structured based on the notes that lecturer give you, or based on the lectures that you teach in class as well. So I think it's all very much connected, and like to change one thing, there's a lot of things that you have to change as well, to transition this education thingy.
It's like like you said, a chain type of effect. Like if one thing changes, a lot of things need to change. And it does sound really difficult at first, but I really, really pray that the MCO will be a wake-up call, especially for education, because like you said, right, nobody cares about our degree when we're going to work. They actually want to know about our experience and how we're thinking. And I feel that right now, the education industry is really failing in that respect because we're not taught to think. We're not taught to challenge, you know, we're taught to conform.
Critical
and when
thinking.
we enter the real world, when we enter the real world, right, us as fresh grads, we're getting our ass handed to us, man. Because all the bosses are expecting us to, oh my god, you're the young generation, you need to come up with new ideas. But for the past 4 years in uni, we're not taught to come up with ideas. And again, like, you know, do you remember who's Dr. Anasuya?
The name sounds familiar,
Can
but
help me.
not really.
She taught a lot of philosophy classes,
Yeah, I
but
was in that class.
I had the opportunity to sit into a lot of her classes. I think like 30% or like a high percentage lah is actually class participation. And every single lecture, after the lecture, right, she will literally go through name by name. And if she names your name and you show her hand and say, I didn't hear your voice, no points for that day, you know.
Oh
You
my God.
immediately lose percentage from that day. So you must talk in her class, and like you must argue with her, you must argue with your classmate, you need to give an opinion because she will go through, nobody's allowed to leave. She will name you at the end of the class. And if she don't remember your voice, right, you hancho already and you know points already for her class. So I feel that a very drastic way, but it works also.
Yeah, I mean like but again you have to go back to the cultural thing like how many students out of 10 students would be open to that kind of class format. And like if you ask me back then, if you ask me to enroll into a class like that with and putting my education and my CGPA into factor, I don't think that's something I don't think that's a class that I would want to go into back then.
Because you can't sue.
Yeah, lor, just personally lah.
Yeah, so like there sure will be students who prefer, the quiet, just put your head down, listen, take notes, and there will be lecturers that prefer that as well to answer Dana's point because like the lecturer also needs to get used to that. There will
Mhm.
always be people who agree and disagree with ideas, and always, always, always. That's why there are
Mhm.
different parties, political parties as well. But I
Mhm.
feel that we should really, really embrace how different we are, but we need to adapt also lah. We need to adapt to see which way is more beneficial for the mass majority.
Yep.
Dude, what makes a lecturer memorable?
Wait, it's Steph a lecturer?
What bodoh? No lah. I don't think you remember, but her brother was our volleyball captain, and if you remember him,
Um,
Jeremy.
what?
Jeremy.
Okay, just to answer Steph's question, what makes a lecturer memorable? Uh, I don't really have any memorable lecturers. Wei.
Of course.
There's
That's
nothing to
all you
refer
want, your
to.
4.0, you ass white.
There's nothing to refer to, man.
I think we're
What's?
gonna have very different opinions about this.
Yeah, I don't have one to refer to, so I don't have any. What about yours?
I actually have two or three. I'm gonna talk about lecturers first. So like in university, step set. For me, one of the memorable ones were people that I actually made personal relationships with. So like for me, it was Miss Yvonne because I really love counseling and I've always wanted to do counseling, and I just love the way that she handled her classes. It is always in such a calm composure, but in an education perspective, because this was a subject I was very passionate about, I really love that she brings her personal experience to the table because she is a practicing professional. And so for her to be able to give insight about what it's like to be a counselor and real life situations about being a counselor, I appreciated that a lot, a lot, a lot. And she
Mhm.
was very, very approachable. Every time I go and try to talk to her and try to make conversation, she just treats me like a human. She doesn't treat me like someone who's dumber than her, who's less experienced. She treats me like a human, and like she treated me with respect, and that's all I can really ask for. Another lecturer that I remember was Dr. Eugene because of
Oh
how
yes.
he had a very different way of approaching his lecture. He had a very, very different way. And I think, was he in Japan? I don't remember, but all I know is that he always gives Japanese references. And like a lot of his words were always a lot of
Yes, yes.
Japan references.
Cause,
So
cause
yeah,
he
yeah.
teaches
So
emotions and there are
the
words.
Japanese language.
Yeah.
Uh,
There are emotion. There are words in Japanese that cannot be described in English, only in Japanese. Because in English
yeah,
we don't
yeah.
have like particular words for those emotions. That's why he taught us in Japanese as well.
Good, good. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, so I was thinking about like memorable lectures, no lah, but if you ask me the memorable lecturers and what made them memorable, would would be lecturers like Miss Melissa during foundation, and the second one on top of the two that you mentioned would be Miss Sydney D as well. Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing much about the subject, but because of their personalities, like just as lecturers. You know how like lecturers, every time when you talk to them, or even after class, if you have any questions, you ask them. There's always this human touch that they give within their lectures, and also when they talk to you as well. They don't talk to you as students, but talk to you as friends. And those are the
Yeah.
kind of lectures that I really want to be in touch with, like even after university.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I guess to answer Sta's question first, like what did they do to make me look forward to that subject was, again, I always value personal experience. So if I already like the subject, which was counseling, I have had lecturers totally butcher subjects that I love, so I did not appreciate that at all. But how they make me enjoy it was that, again, they give me a glimpse into the future. They give me a glimpse into what it's like to actually practice in this profession or practice this particular subject, and they bring the subject alive. So like with Miss Yvonne, it was actually giving me a glimpse into the future, and for Dr. Eugene, he was giving a lot of insight into what this subject is in real life. So he really brought it to life.
Yeah, and through the lens of personal experience as well, because not many people, especially if it's a niche field, not many people can give you that, that perspective through that lens.
Mm. Carmen, I'm gonna try to be a counselor. For my very best, I will try. But I'm currently on the road there. It's a cool archaeology story by Dana, Indiana Jones.
What are you talking about, Dana?
I think he also wants to be on the call.
I think he fly to the moon already, bro.
He's telling more stories than us, yeah.
I think we can ask Dana to join the call next time.
Yeah, we totally should. I think we need to focus on not roasting each other.
Yeah, I think Steph has a question for you, Justin.
Yeah. I'll answer first. Then, if you have anything to add,
Yep.
like your personal experience, then you add. Like for me,
Mhm.
what they did right was that they just had slides that they would read from, and it was exactly like a PowerPoint slideshow. They just slide after slide, and they will talk about that. Because I took psychology in foundation because I really wanted to learn about it, and I don't really have good memories about that because it was just slide after slide, note after note, and it's just like, oh, as you can see here, da da da, and then so this, and you're just force feeding me facts. It's not like I can read this in a book. You understand what I'm saying? Like I don't need you to do what you're doing in order for me to obtain this information. I can Google that shit. You're not adding anything to me. And so it was really, really boring. And it wasn't very interactive for me. I don't really like classes where like I just sit and look at you, and not only you're boring, not only the information is not helpful, but I don't get to talk. So like
And just to add to your point, right? Also, like how they like what you mentioned just now is like they just read from the notes, lah. But also lecturers who are able to think of ways, right, to convey their message through different mediums. I remember Eugene using a lot of videos that has very relatable information with the courses or with the information that is trying to pass on to us as well. And that itself makes the memory more vivid, more memorable, and which I really appreciate, the things that he add to his courses.
I actually really want to share something because when I was in foundation, because Josh and I took foundation together as well, he was in arts and I was in science. I actually kind of quote unquote got myself into a pickle because I challenged my bio lecturer. I was talking shit with her in class, and she was like, "If you don't shut up, I'm gonna make you teach the next lecture all by yourself." And obviously, I was like, "Come on, bring it on! I totally can do that." And she really made me teach the lecture by myself, new information that I had never learned before, and I had to create my own slides. I had to create everything myself. So I did exactly that, and what I did was I studied the entire chapter. I took relevant notes, and then what I did right was that I tried my very best to make the because dude, this is freaking biology, I couldn't think of a way to make this interesting because it's just biology. It's birds and insects and people. So what I did was that I created stories from the examples, and from the story, I kind of link all the facts into my story. So like, oh, the bird come here, it shits here, then it creates a family, and then the family grow and stuff like that. And from there, I added all the terminology onto it. So even when I was trying to relay information just to my classmates, not even people, that I'm teaching officially, I still try my best to make it a memorable lecture in ways that they'll remember information, because I'm really appreciative to my mother. When she taught me information when I was a kid, that's exactly how she did it. She found interesting and creative ways to help me remember stuff.
And teaching is also a very good way of learning as well. Like you'd be surprised to see.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Like I see students, right, teach other students just to memorize better for exams. So those are different ways to learn things as well.
Totally, damn true, damn true. You're like teaching halfway, it's like, oh shit, I didn't know this. Let's keep going, just pretend to know. Like, yeah, dude, we're actually really loving the interaction from you guys as well. We really love being able to answer questions and share feedback. Like, the only way we can share feedback with
Yeah.
you guys is, when you guys ask questions like this, we really, really appreciate it. So, Josh, like, I just wanted to add on a new question. Like, what type of jobs do you think will be more in demand?
Okay.
Like after MCO, do you think there are any type of jobs that will be more in demand? Because like from what I've been hearing, tutoring, like the tutoring I used to do, a lot of people are telling me that will be phased out because of how much online material there is, and a lot of tutors are going online. So do you think, like, for fresh grads who are coming out, would you recommend any particular job to look out for?
Justin, I didn't really get your question because the line was breaking.
I
But
figured.
yeah, but
I
you
figured.
mentioned about in-demand jobs, right, after MCO. Is that your question?
Yeah, are there any type of jobs that you would recommend or you would feel are more in demand
I,
after
I cannot
MCO?
speak for all the industries, lah, but based on the point that I just mentioned earlier, because a lot of companies they want to cut costs, especially just to reduce that fixed expense that they utilize every month. So a lot of companies will tend to go more towards outsourcing instead of hiring new staff to do just one specific job. Outsourcing provides you with, for example, if you need this project done within 6 months, they'll only be there for 6 months. You only have to pay that outsourcing company for 6 months. It's more of a contract job instead of like paying your employee again and again throughout the whole month, throughout the whole year. So these are the things that people would be.
Mm.
And one of the things that would be, I feel like would be more, companies would be more open to go into is like, software programming outsourcing as well. A lot of companies, they hire like different software programmers, like in-house software programmers, but maybe after this, companies will be more open to outsource software programmers because in the end of the day, it's just a project and, maybe they would be more open to hire outsourcing as well.
So like
Content
ad hoc
creators,
basis jobs lah.
yeah, or when project-based jobs,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Yeah, you're mentioning content creators.
No, I was just asking like what content creators is Dana talking about?
Oh, I think it would be like people who make videos for kind of like you know how like Gary Vee always has somebody following him around.
Oh, okay.
That's what I would think, like for a company, like people, because like even like Albert, from the what's that called?
That's space.
Nespace. Yeah. So he's also been engaging me for like side jobs to maybe create videos for certain companies, and I think that would be something that a lot of companies will realize the importance of.
Dana went to the
Yeah.
moon again.
This is why it's just gonna be roasting. So, yeah, that is all from me actually. Do you have anything else you want to add, or like any questions from the floor that you would still like to shoot over at us? Mr. Zhang?
Oh no, I thought you were asking the audience.
I'm asking both for you. Like for me, those are all the questions that I had prepared
No,
to ask
that's
everybody.
actually everything that I have to share for today.
I think that personal training is still a necessity, as in like so let's just say if we're talking about the fitness industry, right? Having content online is good just for like tips, especially tips. So like when I was working out, I watched videos like the NX, what's that called? Athlete X. So those are really, really good because they provide information to the general public about like, oh, how to avoid injury, or these are the proper forms for doing this particular exercise, or what exercises to avoid and stuff like that. So putting things online for that particular purpose, I think is really good. But I think for what you said, how it hurts it is when people take that out of context and they purely use that and they do not consult a professional. I think that one might be a little dangerous. But I still feel that even if you put content out online and you're in the fitness industry, I think you will still be able to get business because it's kind of like what's that called? Like personal branding for yourself as well. And I still think that personal trainers and coaches are a necessity, and they will have business even if they're putting free content online.
I mean, it's like you pay for what you get for. I mean, the courses that are provided online, it's more like fixed structures that you can follow or choose not to follow. But if you go for a personal trainer per se, you'll be receiving a more personalized training program. And also the workouts or whatever routine that you'll be going through would be more personalized based on what you are looking for, which is, very hard to find if you're searching online to find something very personal that's, just catered for you. And also, like, I believe having someone there with you when you're working out, someone to push you, to give you that inspiration, to give you that extra push would be something very different that online courses could not provide.
Yeah. I think this actually goes, if we're talking about fitness, also talk about diet. This is where a lot of times, especially diets, they are taken out of context. Because if you have a proper coach who is with you, who understands your daily routines, who understands your diet that you're taking, and understands the workout regime that you are following, they will be able to provide a proper diet plan for you. But when people just go online, especially like keto diets or no carb diets or all water diets, people take that out of context and they just go batshit insane with it, and it's actually really unhealthy for people to do that. So yeah, I think that having that personal coach, like you said, that personal touch is still, that will not be able to be replaced. I think that posting videos online is just information for the public to realize how important these issues are, but they'll still need to engage you for that proper holistic plan.
Yep.
Go to the moon again.
Like I said, no. I think it's actually relevant this time.
Go for it.
You pay for what you get. That's all I have to say. You want something more customized, you pay, that's all.
Because especially when you're doing stuff that is like how to say kind of like you're like business for yourself, where you are the business. Like for me, maybe tutoring, or for like Steph as an athlete, that is where you really understand how much your time is worth, and people pay for your time because you providing your time is providing your expertise, your skills to them for value. So of course, as you progress, then just a simple conversation with you, that costs money already, bro, because from one conversation, I put it in this way, like imagine if you get 5 minutes with like Bill Gates, or like you get like 10 minutes with Elon Musk. That, do you think can you put a price on that or not? How much would you be willing to pay for a conversation like that? And I'll leave it at that. Imagine 5 minutes with Jung Jung.
This has been more than 5 minutes, man. You need to pay me more than what you always pay.
Which is jack shit, bro. Your time ain't worth shit yet.
You pay with love, bro.
Dude, I give you so much love. I think you don't pay me enough love. I really feel that this is a one-sided relationship.
I think we, from like, MCO, we don't know go until where already.
But it's cool. I like this type of conversations where like it's not planned and we're just talking to the people who are talking to us. I really love this type of interaction. I really hope that we'll be able to do this more.
Yeah, sure. I'll be more than happy if Dana's around as well.
Dude, later he mzong you, then I don't know already. But thank you, all of you guys who have been asking us questions, who have been interacting with us. It has been really an amazing experience doing this with you guys. So we'll update you about the next live session, and I will do my best to update you a little bit earlier so that you guys can maybe prep and also try to update the topic so that if you guys have any questions, you can shoot them beforehand, and we'll be able to immediately incorporate that into the discussion. So you have to pay for that romance with me, bro. Until next time, it's been great.
Yeah,
Dude, he's going to the moon already. Cut already.
Thank you so much for your participation, guys. I really appreciate everything.
Yeah.
And bye, Dana. You can shut up now.
Ciao outside, guys. See you next time.